Hello, you just reached MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. We're currently tying up phone lines and burning through cell minutes to get you closer to the guys on top of the boxes and over the wall down on Pit Road. Thank you for holding. You are now being connected to your hosts, Sammi Jo Francis and Rocko Williams.
Welcome to another edition of MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. I'm Sammi Jo Francis.
And I'm Rocko Williams.
And it feels so empty in here.
It does.
I know, we're so used to having a guest, but this wraps into why we don't have a guest, because, well, the race didn't happen on Sunday, did it?
No, it didn't happen Monday.
It was a little soggy.
2-day rain delay, and those are the worst.
That's rough.
I hate it for all the fans that came out, I even read that there was people all the way from Australia who came out there. And
that's such a bummer.
That's a bit disappointing, when you come so far to see a race and it doesn't happen, but, you can't control the weather. But
yeah.
That was a bit
wonder if they
disheartening.
stayed. I wonder how that works out, because surely if it's on the weekend, you're not getting the same amount of people that you would get on a Monday as you would the weekend.
But I will say the ones that did stay, they probably enjoyed the races. Those were two very good races.
The end of the regular season.
In the same day, that's rare when you have an Xfinity race and a Cup Series race in the same day. And they were actually good races.
That's a long day, though.
It is. It's for the crew members.
I was going to say, for the crew.
For the management, for the drivers, especially about the drivers who had double duty. And we talked about that. I don't know if you noticed, Sammy, but I did fill in for
I saw.
for Joey Meyer on Motorsport Monday.
And what was Joey Meyer doing?
Well, he was working.
Oh.
He's the spotter for number 2,
Brad Keselowski. I guess you can't take off just because you get back-to-back wins.
Somebody's got to watch Keselowski's back on that track.
That's true.
Joey's the man. He does that, and I had
good thing he was there.
In for him. Yeah, he was
Worked
there.
out well for him.
He was, and we talked about some of that stuff, and the race was just really good, And it's typically not what you get at Indianapolis. Those races can be a bit boring, but this one was, for whatever reason, there was many factors that played into that, but it was exciting,
The Penske crew, right?
Yeah, they won the race. The first win there
Indy
at the Brickyard.
Right.
And he's won everywhere else. That's kind of, I was talking with Trent Cherry, our guest on our show prior to Pit Coach, and I texted him right after it happened, well, a little bit after. I let his phone die down a little bit. I texted him, I was like, is that your first win? After I said congratulations, he was like, sure was, bud. That's what he says, It was like, awesome. I was like, you don't really take in account all the success that they've had, that would be their first Brickyard win.
And those are 2 huge wins as far as, checking it off the checklist. You got Indy and Darlington.
Yes, it's like 2 of your milestone races back to back. And it was a big deal for them and the crew. And prior to that, we had Hunter Masling, the tire changer for the 2 car the week before. Remember that? And for him winning that, I talked to him as well.
Are you saying that we're the good luck charm?
And that's what I told him. Sammy. I told him, I was like, look, you have to be on our show every week, and you'll keep this going.
And then you'll just win. So, okay, regular season has wrapped.
Yep.
How are we feeling going into postseason?
This is the time where you're going to see the teams set themselves apart from the other ones.
Okay.
Because when the chase starts, Sammy, you're going to have of course, you have your top 5 teams who's been to the playoffs before, who are running well all year, who have multiple wins.
They're comfortable there.
They're comfortable. They've been playoff racing all year already. But what I'm curious to see are teams like Austin Dillon, who gets in there. He won way back in Daytona. But then what have you done for me lately? Now that you're in the chase, they have the same amount of, if they can last the first 2 rounds, they have the same chance of winning the championship as those drivers who've been balling out all year.
Yeah, well, us, we don't talk a whole lot about drivers.
No, we don't. But that goes for crew too, Sam.
That's what I was going to say. Are you making any changes at this point different from the rest of the season, or is it too big of a risk?
You are making changes. I just talked to some guys today. These pit crew members, the pit crew coaches are coming up with ways to constantly test their guys and hone their skills to get them ready for playoff. They're having competitions on campus.
What does that consist of?
That consists of, like, if a team has 3 or 4 teams, organization of 3 or 4 teams competing in the same series, they might mix those teams up. They might compete, have competitions on campus against each other.
With an organization earlier this season, they kind of switched members around?
This is the time where you see that all the time.
So it becomes normal now.
The chase is so important to these organizations. They're going to do everything they can to make sure pit stops is not the reason why they don't advance or win a championship.
Don't be the scapegoat.
And you cannot do anything to keep that from happening. It's a roll of the dice, pretty much. But they're going to attempt it.
Speaking of rolling the dice, next up is Vegas.
Vegas, and there's going to be some dice rolled there.
But just because we don't have a guest doesn't mean you shouldn't stick around, because you should. We're talking Vegas, we're talking Florence, we're talking milk, bread, and water.
Do they know what Florence is?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
You got to tease them a little.
Okay.
Keep them interested.
That's right.
All right, we'll be back with more MRN Crew Call right after this.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
The roar of motorcycles takes over Daytona International Speedway October 18th through the 21st with the return of Biketoberfest. Racing action features top riders from CCS and ASRA as they take on Daytona's challenging 3.51-mile road course. Enjoy free demo rides from top manufacturers, stroll through the area's largest motorcycle marketplace, and enjoy Saturday's Hot Leathers fashion show and bikini contest in Harley-Davidson Thunder Alley. Marketplace admission, demo rides, and parking are free. For race tickets, call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or visit DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
You're smart, got your own trucking business, making it happen. What if I told you there was a place online where you could connect with other smart owner-operators just like you? It's an online community called Team Run Smart, where people share advice on truck maintenance, fuel savings, healthy habits on the road, and so much more, all to make your business more profitable. And it's all free. Visit TeamRunSmart.com today to check it out. You'll be glad you did. TeamRunSmart.com, brought to you by Freightliner Trucks.
Thank you for joining MRN Crew Call. If you know your party's extension, please send it along. I haven't been to a good one in years. Now, here's Sammi Jo and Rocko.
Welcome back to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel and Milk and Bread and Water.
Milk, bread, and water. Run!
That's right. So a lot of things have changed this week for practices, not only because the race was so delayed, but because we're having some severe weather threats. For those of you not in the Carolinas watching us, there is Hurricane Florence that is kind of looming on the coast, which means teams are shortening their practices because they have to because of the last week. But on top of that, you're flying out when?
I'm flying out tomorrow. Tomorrow
being Thursday, if you're watching this on another day. Now, when would you normally fly out?
I normally fly out the day of the race for the truck series.
Okay.
Being that I'm the jack man for the number 51 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports, everybody doesn't know, but I fly out the day of the race and I'm back the same day, typically.
What's different?
What's different with just the preparation of this storm that's approaching us? A lot of teams don't want to be stuck, on this coast, not able to fly out to the race, so they're flying out a day or two early. Some, if you have to be there Thursday, some are leaving today. So you have to go early, and then there's no guarantee of when you're coming back.
Right.
Because we don't know. We can't anticipate how the storm, we can anticipate how big the storm is going to be. We don't know how it will affect us. So,
and we spoke a little bit, but, going to a normal track, okay, East Coast to East Coast. This is a West Coast. You're going to Vegas.
But you got to also keep in mind, too, Sammy, the race was just on Monday.
That's what I'm saying.
So Sunday, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but the race was on Monday, so then you have to, logistically speaking, you had to get these cars from Indianapolis either back to your shop and then out to Vegas, which a lot of teams did, they sent haulers up to Indianapolis. They did their whole transitioning there, and straight from Indianapolis, then they go to Las Vegas, But
that's smart.
As far as the personnel goes, you really have to play it safe because you don't want to be stuck in Charlotte, not able to send your guys out there unless you're going to rack up a lot of rental car miles and drive out to Las Vegas.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
How long would that be?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Isn't West Coast 48 hours or something crazy?
I don't know. And then you have to deal with the time change.
Yeah, the time change. Let me tell you about time changes when traveling.
You know about time changes.
I do.
But let's just say the storm is bad. And let's just say when the race is over, we cannot get back to North Carolina. You have Richmond coming up right there, flooding there. Imagine, we don't even know how
this
it
could be a
affect
domino
Richmond.
effect.
Yes, it could. And it could, ramifications of this storm could affect not only this race, but races down the line, especially with Richmond and Charlotte being the next two races in this first round of the playoffs.
Well, time will tell, and hopefully it's not as bad as they're suspecting, but it is supposed to be a Category 4 when it hits.
I don't know what that means.
It's, by the way, we just got word from our producer that it would be a 31-hour drive. So in case you were wondering if you should leave for Vegas today or drive 31 hours, I'm going to go with leaving today.
But you know how North Carolinians are. You know,
get it right.
Yeah, you know, I'm from Atlanta. But when the storm, you know, it's bad. It's going to be bad. And then when it comes, it's really never as bad. But I like the fact that they are prepping you and giving you the ability to leave or to prepare, which is why there is no bread, water, or milk in any of the stores. At the same time, you have my family talking about, well, it's all right. It'll just be a little wet.
I think what they're doing, they're over preparing you.
And I guess that's a good thing.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, even though I caught a little flack being that, you know, I will be leaving my family here and I will be going to Vegas. And I was like, man, I might get stuck, you know, in Las Vegas.
Listen, you won't be the first or the last person to get stuck in Vegas, for the record. And I don't think it's a bad place to be stuck.
We don't know if we'll be stuck or not. I'm praying for the best. I'm hoping that, you know, the storm does come, which is going to come, but it won't be nearly as bad. But you never know because the way I see it in the stores, you know, it could be pretty bad. But
okay, let's circle back to these crew members being swapped around, because now it makes all the sense in the world when we were talking on break that you said you want to take your best components of all these other teams and filter them into your cars that are in for the playoffs.
Well, it's not. You just want to prepare for the chase, and a lot of these team owners and these pit crew coaches get nervous when the chase comes, when the playoffs start. I keep saying chase. When the playoffs start.
Put that in the swear jar.
They get nervous because it is such a big deal, and I mean the pressure ramps up. And you never want to get stuck in a place where if you have the ability to swap two guys on a team that aren't competing in the playoffs and put them, and they're just ballers, they're just rock steady, solid every single week. Why not move them to a car that's competing for a championship? But at the same time, you do that, and they might not gel as well as they did with the previous team.
That's what I was going to say. Don't you run the risk of ruining the chemistry that has gotten that car to the
You
playoffs?
do, and if it was up to me, if I made all the decisions, I would leave the teams as they are. You know, that's the team that got your car into the chase.
Commissioner Rocko.
Yes, if I was the commissioner, that pit crew is the pit crew that represented your team and got you to the place you need to be.
That seems like the fair.
But some people don't think like that in upper management. They feel like they constantly have to get better. But as an athlete, that drove me crazy.
How disheartening is that if you are part of that crew that got that car there to be then swapped out?
You have to maintain your composure. I've been a part of pit crew swaps and team swaps before, and you do see red. You get upset. You have you develop a relationship with not only your driver but with that team, who I like to say you go to war with every single week. You know, week in and week out, competing to trying to win a race.
Yeah.
And then you develop a bond to be taken off a particular team or to be switched up in the hopes, not even proven in hopes that it's a better fit. I just feel like it is.
Do you kind of hope for failure? Are you kind of like, man?
Well, you know, no. you can't be selfish with it. You know, at the end of the day, you know why it's happening. Speaking personally, you are upset, but if it betters the team as a whole, because when one team wins, the whole team wins.
You gotta be selfless.
And that's racing. Yeah, you have to be selfless, but on a personal level, it does sting. It does bite, and what that does for me, it motivates me to get my stuff together.
That much better.
So next year, I won't be the one that's being evaluated to make a swap or.
But that would never happen because Rocco's the best to ever do it.
I just told you I've been a part of pit swaps before.
Yeah, whatever. We're denying that. That's fake news.
It happens.
All right. Well, coming up, we are going to break down more of Vegas and how the crews can kind of battle Sin City and how that will go. We'll be back with more MRN Crew Call right after this.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Clutch Coffee Bar in Mooresville, North Carolina is redefining the drive-through coffee game in Race City, USA. The Clutch experience is quick, efficient, and personal. Unmatched customer service is the name of the game. Clutch Coffee Bar offers signature espresso drinks, classic coffees, custom-flavored infused energy drinks, smoothies, and more. With over 25 flavors, there's something for everyone. Visit our 2 locations in Mooresville, 356 Williamson Road and 154 West Plaza Drive. Open daily 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. Power up today with Clutch Coffee Bar.
Change is good. You're either growing together or growing apart. You know, some kind of change is always happening.
There are plenty of changes in the NASCAR garage in 2018. What isn't changing is NASCAR Today Midday, keeping you up to date.
To be able to drive for Roger Penske on the Cup side has been something I've always wanted to do, and to bring the 12 car back, I think it's a pretty big deal.
Your midday NASCAR fix is NASCAR Today Midday, weekdays here on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hello, MRN Crew Call. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Well, let me transfer you to someone who actually cares. Here's Sammi Jo and Rocko.
Welcome back to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. I'm Sammi Jo Francis. That's Rocko Williams. We're moving right along here in a very not rainy yet atmosphere.
It's not rainy yet, but it's coming.
So Vegas, you probably won't see rain.
No, we're going to see some heat.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of heat, but it's dry heat.
Yeah.
How is that?
What does that mean?
Dry heat means there's no humidity.
Not like here.
Right. So if it's 80, it'll feel 80. Whereas if it's 80 here, it feels 100.
Really?
But there, it'll be 100 and feel 100.
Which are you more of a fan of?
That's probably dry heat.
Do you like the dry heat?
Yeah, because that's more West Coast. Dry heat's more West Coast. Like LA has dry heat.
I think the mosquitoes thrive more in the humidity.
In the humidity, of course they do. Yeah, of course they do. But that dry heat can sneak up on you and really dehydrate you.
Yes.
So is that a huge issue in Vegas?
I don't think it's a huge issue as much as with the personnel and dehydration as more as it would be with the track. You know, and the problem that I foresee is when you give a team, segueing away from pit crews, but when you give a team advance notice of heat or a change in track temperature as much as they have, you know, they're going to outthink themselves. You know, the track is so hot, it's going to be slick. And, you know, that's really going to showcase the teams that handle that, overthink themselves and
How do you
overprepare.
handle that?
There's no right or wrong answer. You're going to see it at the race. You're going to see the teams who perform the best under those conditions, being that we've never raced in Las Vegas. Well, we haven't raced. The last time we raced in Vegas,
September.
it was March.
Okay.
It was March, not September. So, you know, right now what I hear is just, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hot. It's going to be so slick. And then you'll change your game plan and you'll prepare for that. Then you get there, it's not nearly as bad as you thought it was, or it was. So that's going to be curious to see. As far as pit crew is concerned, you know, it's hot everywhere we go. We're in those fire suits, you know. It's I like the dry heat better. Like you
and
know.
everybody's in Vegas this weekend, and
All
the
3
Xfinity
teams.
cutoff for regular season is this week.
Yep.
And it's the second race for the Trucks playoffs, which unfortunately
it's interesting.
your team.
No, well, it's interesting because it's a staggered schedule where, like you said, the Trucks.
Yep.
You know, they had a long time off. The last time we raced was Canada, and they are already. This will be their second race into the playoffs. Xfinity. You know, this will be the final
weird
race
and staggering.
to the cutoff, you know, and Al Geier's leading there. And I got to admit, you know, he had an awesome race at the Brickyard, and I feel like he's carrying the most momentum. And not to mention he runs for Junior Motorsports, which is...
How important is momentum going into the playoffs?
Well, we saw that this past week with the number 2 car. With the Darlington Raceway with the number 2 team and how they won the Southern 500. Then they turn around and use that momentum, and then they win the Brickyard. You know, so it is important. It goes top to bottom. That momentum. It hits the driver, hits the team, hits the pit crews.
Are there any similarities in the tracks of Darlington and Indy?
No, not at all.
So it really is just
totally different tracks.
Momentum and skill fueling you through that.
And exactly, and then that confidence. You know, to be a big, great. I'm a relate to it as I would as a pit crew member. When you're feeling good about yourself, I always had the slogan.
Which of course you are, because you're walking around in Tom Ford sunglasses.
Look good, feel
Gucci.
good, play good.
Right.
You know, that's how it goes, Sammy. And I'm telling you, when you have back-to-back races where you're just balling out, you're not making mistakes, not any major mistakes, you're putting your team in position to win, that's going to roll over and translate into the next week and the week after that. And the thing which makes our playoffs so unique is that you can have 3 or 4 good races and then you can advance. But all it takes is one bad race, and you dig yourself in such a big hole that you could have had 7, 8, 9 wins all year, and you have nothing to show for it because you're eliminated.
How much?
You're out of the chase.
So with
playoffs.
momentum and things like that, how much does Lady Luck play a part? Because it is Vegas.
As it relates to what? As far as you advancing?
As far as how your race goes.
Well, you got to live your life right. You know, if you're not living your life right, it's going to
show.
You
have 7 rabbit's feet in your pocket.
You know, you just got to live your life right. And however you want to take that, Sam, you know, I try to live my life right so I don't have to rely on any negative energy or karma.
But as far as luck playing into, we had the best pit stops. This guy had a tire roll away.
Well, no, and I'm glad you said that because I predicted the following week. The previous week before Indianapolis that with those pit stalls being so long and narrow, you were going to see a lot of penalties, and we did. We saw a lot of penalties, uncontrolled tires, and we've been seeing those all year.
And that has been our main focus.
And the reason why that is because we're going to these tracks for the first time as a 5-man pit crew. So you're going to have to figure that stuff out. The advantage you have in the playoffs is you're going to some of the same tracks that you went to in the regular season.
Right.
You know, so you can rely on that experience that you gained, pitting the car with 5 men to be successful at those tracks. What you saw in the regular season, when you went to the track for the first time, like the Brickyard the past week and Darlington, you saw way more penalties. Well, you see them anywhere because you just, that's the first time you're at a racetrack where the pit stalls are just insane. I wish I had the dimensions I could tell you, but they're super long and they are just uncomfortably narrow. Where when you're rolling those tires or taking those tires back to the wall, you have so far to go that you don't accommodate for that. Now, in practice, these teams, they try to set up their pit practice areas to simulate and replicate what you're going to see, but it's never the same.
Right.
I mean, you can do it. The scenarios are just too ideal to simulate in practice. You know, when you get out there in the racetrack, it's very hard to simulate race-like conditions at a practice facility.
Yeah.
And that's what separates the veterans from the rookies because they've been there.
Yeah.
They've seen these places, so they know how to mentally prepare themselves and physically prepare themselves outside of the racetrack at the practice facility. So, you know, I'm excited to see. I know that the top 5 or 6 teams, they're going to do very well because a lot of those guys are veteran crew members, and they've been there before.
Yeah, the experience pays off. Okay, coming up, we are previewing the rest of the playoffs,
We're done?
not the chase.
Okay, the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs?
No, I said playoffs. I was right.
Playoffs? We're talking
playoffs? And we're talking playoffs. And we've got our clutch performer of the week.
Yes.
So you don't want to miss that. Stick around. We'll be back with more MRN Crew Call right after this.
The 1993 Cup Series season had more than its fair share of twists and turns.
Checkered flags waving. I look in my mirror, and here's Earnhardt right on my tail, and he goes down low to pass me. And I said, oh, no, you don't.
As Wallace spins, Wallace's car goes on its nose.
Here's stories that you've never heard before in a 10-part series called The 1993 Season, 25 years later.
And Davey was behind me, and we came off the corner, and there's a guy standing in the middle of the racetrack.
You can download it for free on iTunes and at MRN.com right now. MRN original programs stream on MRN.com. Check out NASCAR drivers on Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer. Sprint car racing on Winged Nation with Steve Post and Aaron Everett. Meet NASCAR team crews on Crew Call with Sammi Jo and Rocko. NASCAR local and regional racing on NASCAR Coast to Coast with Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse. NHRA Talk on The Straight Line with Marty Huff and Doug Herbert. Your home for original motorsports talk. MRN.com.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-242-1706, 800-242-1706.
Thank you for holding. Now back to MRN Crew Call with Rocko and Sammi Jo.
Welcome back to MRN Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Sammi Jo Francis and Rocko Williams hanging out.
Yes.
Okay, we were talking a little bit about the size of pit stalls.
Yes.
And how tiny they were. How does that compare to Vegas? What's Vegas like?
Vegas is your standard stall. The thing I remember most about Vegas is that they are sloped in some stalls. You'll have a gradual slope going.
Doesn't that kind of affect your tire?
It does, but that adds to the personality of each racetrack. And
personality.
Yeah, each of the racetracks has a different personality on pit road, and depending on what stall you get, you might have the opportunity to pick a stall over another one, and you will not pick that pit stall because you know from your notes and just from years past that stall does slope out to pit road. Your tires do roll a little bit more there.
It's the best pit position to have. Say that three times fast.
The first stall.
The first stall.
Yeah, you qualify. I mean, typically everywhere you go, the first stall is your best stall. Now there are, back in the day, Richmond, you would qualify well and you had the opportunity to pick one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stalls, or maybe in the first or a stall with the opening. And Jimmy Johnson was famous for this. He would always pick pit stall 43. At Richmond, just with the characteristic of that track and coming on pit road, it was extremely easy to get in and out of the 43rd box, the box that was closest
That's so random.
to the cone. And he would do that. He would do that also at New Hampshire, in Loudon, at that racetrack. So different tracks, I mean, just getting on and off pit road, it'll affect which pit boxes you pick. Some always like to be towards the beginning. Some always like to be toward the middle. Typically, when you're picking pit stalls, your first boxes to go are your first one when you win the pole, and then the boxes before and behind any opening in the track. Those will be the next to go because you don't want to get blocked in. If you have an opening in front of you, you have more space, and if that one is gone, then you'll pick the pit stall behind an opening, or a pit stall with an opening behind you.
Right.
So, and then after that, if you qualify so bad, it's just slim pickings. You just take what you get, or you might want to pit against a car that you're not competing against.
But that's only if you're living wrong, right?
If you're living wrong, you got to qualify well to get the box that you want.
Okay, for the races that remain, playoff races.
What races remain?
Lots. Richmond, Charlotte, Dover, Dega, Kansas, Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, Homestead, Miami. Okay, what is the most difficult track?
They're all difficult, and for whatever reason, the one that I feel is going to give the teams the most difficulty coming up very soon is the Charlotte Roval.
That's what I thought as well. And yes, but I'm biased because Charlotte's home base for me.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
It's the first time we've ever been to a Roval in Charlotte. It's the first time we're going to that track. It's a brand new track, brand new configuration, so there's a lot of unknowns there. Yes, they have practice there. And just from what I've seen at practice, it's a track that it's
going to cause chaos.
It's going to be chaos.
It wasn't pretty during the practice.
And the conditions, the weather there when they practice there is going to be totally different from when we race there. So it's going to be a lot of unknowns there. Pit crew wise as well. It's just it goes the same. It goes along with the pit crews with the uncertainties. The teams that can prepare the best and not outthink themselves, you're going to have certain teams that maybe just survive. They'll hang out.
Get by.
They'll hang out in the back, not really race aggressively, and just make it to the end, hoping that other cars that are racing hard will take themselves out, and you're there at the end. There you go. It's a good points day. So, which makes the first two races leading up into Charlotte very important because
for sure. Because that one race can screw you up.
You can stack a bunch of points there, and maybe roll the dice a little bit on being aggressive at Charlotte when everyone else can't.
Yeah.
You might come out. In on the good there.
Well, somebody who came out really well this weekend for
the
clutch
second
it is for the second week in a row. Yes. It is our Clutch Performer of the Week, brought to you by Clutch Coffee Bar. All right.
Our very own, MRN's own host of Motorsport Monday, Joey Meyer, spotter of the number 2
Congratulations. You
Yes.
will have coffee cards.
Joey Meyer, I'll
Awaiting
deliver
him.
them to you personally.
Yeah, whenever you see him.
Yes. Coffee's on me, energy drinks on me, and Sammy.
I was going to say, is it really on us?
Well, Sammy and I.
Sammy and I.
Yes, Sammy and I. We got you, Joey.
We
Congratulations.
got you covered. All the adrenaline you need. The next coverage that you have from MRN will be the Truck Series on Friday at 8:30 for the World of Westgate 200. We will see you next week on MRN Crew Call.
Maybe, if I'm not still in Vegas.